Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. I'm out here on a cold January day, but it is about to get a whole lot colder because this coming week it's supposed to be 20 degrees for a high on one particular day and down to a 0 for a low, and they're talking about snow. And last year we had a really deep freeze around Christmas time that did a lot of damage to the plants around in our area. A lot of them came back, which is great. I'm glad they did, but that really reduces what you have for viable cuttings and things like that. Once the tips all start to brown down to the root, you don't have anything left. So I'm hoping to take some cuttings today that I'm going to store for a few days until this really cold snap passes, and then I'm going to treat them and try to get them to root. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm just going to show you what I am taking and how I'm taking it. I'm going to go through the cuttings a little bit and show you exactly what I am doing for those. So here we go. Check this out, guys. We got some daffodils coming up. I know we're not taking cuttings of daffodils, but that's pretty cool to see. They'll be just fine. They might get a little fringe, a little singed on the side, but they'll be all right. Now, I've actually already done some boxwood cuttings for the year, but I'm going to just go ahead and show you if you want to do boxwoods. See, I've got all this extra growth here at the tips of the plants. So I'm just taking something like this. It's a little bit pliable, and I'm going to strip off lower leaves just like that. And when I do that, I can leave a little bit of extra room down here at the bottom where I can trim it back. So I take a cutting a little bit longer, and then when I go to re-stick it after about a week or so, I'll probably keep these in a refrigerator until then, but then I'll trim just down there below that node, and then I'll put that into my rooting medium, and that's what I'll do. So I'll get a bunch of these little cuttings here of the boxwoods. Right there like that. Now the next one I want to take some cuttings of is this Densiformis yew. This is a yew that is very nice evergreen type plant. In fact, I bought a few of these for like $5 like many years ago, and they've turned into this. But all these little areas here where I could prune off, I'm going to use some of those to create more cuttings. Okay, so you can see here I've got quite a few yew cuttings. And I will give you a word of warning. If you have dogs or cats that are prone to chewing on plants that you have in your garden, don't put this in. It can be poisonous to your pets, so I advise you to go for something different. And for these cuttings, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the boxwoods. I'm just going to strip off some of those lower leaves like that. And I'm going to make each cutting have a small area down here at the bottom that is clear of leaves. It's got all these little nodes on it, and that's where roots and things will form. And you notice right now I have not paid too much attention to how I did that cut, because I'm going to recut them before I add rooting hormone and stick them into their actual medium later. All right, here we are with camellia, and this camellia actually died way back last year. So what I'm going to do is go on and take some of these cuttings here, so hopefully it will not be that affected. If it is, I have some cuttings that I can root off of it. Camellia takes a very long time, in my experience, to root, but it does root reliably as long as you can keep the cuttings alive. So I'm just looking here. I'm going to take a little extra. The ideal spot would be to get it below that node, but I'm cutting a little extra again so I can retrim it before I put in rooting hormone and stick it. So I'm going to just take a few of these, just like that. And while doing so, you can kind of trim up the plant a little bit better and make it a little bit nicer to look at. I've got some dead stuff I still haven't trimmed off yet. Now, to keep these for a little bit of time, like here's the camellia cuttings. Again, I'm going to strip off a couple of those little bottoms right there on each of these. Not too many, just a couple of leaves. But we're going to use plastic bags to store these in a cool refrigerator for the next week or so, until I'm ready to stick these out into their own pots with everything. And just a regular plastic bag. And this is a little bit longer cutting here. The tip's actually dead on that one. Pull some of these lower leaves off. same on that. In fact, this one I can probably cut up later and do multiple cuttings here. Probably can do 2 or 3 off of it. So I'm just taking a wet paper towel right here, and I'm going to wrap the bottoms of these cuttings in the wet paper towel. That's just going to keep those moist so they're not going to dry out while they're in the refrigerator. Just like that. And then into a bag. Hopefully this will fit okay. If not, it's not a huge deal. I'll seal it up as good as I can. And bend these just a little bit gently into the bag and seal it up. And when I'm sealing it, I am not going to seal it with all the air compressed out of it. I'm going to try to keep some air in there. And this will go into a refrigerator for the next week. And I'll do the exact same thing for all these other cuttings that I have here, keeping them with like plants. I'll keep all the U's together, all the boxwoods together, and hopefully in another week and a half or so, we'll be able to stick these into their own rooting medium. Now, one of the reasons I'm doing these now, and I'm going to go ahead and post it rather than wait and do a whole post about everything and get roots on it, is that if you are getting this cold that we are about to get, you may want to go out there and take care of some of your plants in the same way. Take a few cuttings of it. Think of them like making a backup copy of your main plants. In case one of those plants dies, you've got an extra out there. Or if you're just wanting to make a few extra plants to put out later, it's a good time to do that. So these are winter cuttings. They should do fine in the weather once the temperatures normalize. It's just we've got a little bit of warm that's happened this week, and then we're going to get that cool, a really cold blast of air, and I'm just taking precautions. Most of these plants may be just fine this time, because last time the difference is we had warm 60 to 70 degree days, and then it dropped down to way below freezing, and that was really damaging to the plants. They just could not adapt so fast. This time, they've got more time to adapt. We've been in the 30s a bit. We've got, most of our plants are dormant at this stage, and they shouldn't be doing a whole lot. So we should be okay this time, but it never hurts to take some precautions. So anyway, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. Hope this helped you in some way. If it did, hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.